Had a couple of questions put to me by successive members and want to quite quickly address them. The first is in respect of Ashraf Chowdhury, and he points out that Clause 6 in front of us does not include the word research, and he wants to know why not. And it refers back, I think, to some earlier remarks I made about the nomenclature of research, science and technology that's been in our public lexicon for 20 years or so, and he's saying, well, how come we've lost it now? And I can understand why he's saying that. I think it's a legitimate and valid question, but I think it's got a legitimate and valid answer. And put simply, it is because the word humanities has been added. That the word research can come out because the word humanities has been added. By that I mean this: science and research are synonymous. Technology and development are synonymous, or near enough. Synonymous is probably too strong a term, but at least they have a very similar meaning. But science and technology do not describe or begin to describe that thing called humanities. And so humanities has to find expression one way or another. And in Clause 6, it finds expression directly. The word humanities has been put in black letter law. So we now have science, technology and humanities. In earlier times, 20 years ago, when we were talking about why Morst was called the Ministry of Research, Science and Technology, and you examine those words and you wonder why both research and science are needed, the answer was it was a nod to humanities, because humanities was not explicitly mentioned. And certainly Morst, as an agency, does not concern itself with humanities. The Ministry of Arts, Culture and Heritage does. So we had divided our state in such a way that humanities couldn't be part of Morst, but it is also the case that because humanities is part of scholarship, and Morst is seriously involved with scholarship, that they needed to put the word research in there to give a nod to humanities. So I'm suggesting to Dr. Ashraf Chowdhury that we're entitled to give ground here, that we're entitled to say research as a word is no longer needed in the legislation as it is, that humanities by itself, in conjunction with the words science and technology, cover the patch, that we do have no yawning gaps. Now this leads to another question in the name of another doctor. We're surrounded by doctors in the House, especially on the Labor side of the House. We've got Dr. Rajan Prasad, himself a social scientist, is of the view that we should, instead of, he's not of the view, he's asking the question, I think, should we, he says, now that we've got science and technology and humanities sitting there, and given that we've got a bunch of ambiguity about where social science finishes and humanities starts, as evidenced, for example, by the ordinary Mr. Chris Hipkins, who said that criminology, for example, is both an art and a science. And actually many things are both arts and sciences, including something I'm familiar with called anesthesiology. It's absolutely an art and a science. Yeah. It is what I'm doing now. No, I didn't think so. I thought it was... I resemble that remark. And I think the member's absolutely on the button here. But can I just say to Dr. Rajan Prasad that I think he's guilty of special pleading. That's what I think. I think that if Dr. Rajan Prasad were to succeed in having the word social sciences put into black letter law, along would come Dr. Ashraf Chowdhury soon enough to say, what about natural sciences, or biological sciences, or agricultural sciences, or whatever took his fancy, or physical sciences, said someone else. I say leave it alone. I say let the word science be as the broad church that we all want it to be. Let the social scientists find their place in that broad church of science. And indeed the member himself has made social science a much more relevant contributor to the public debate with his work in the Families Commission. I applaud him for that. But there is no need to, in addition to that, specially plead for a special mention because social sciences are feeling on the outer or not quite as important I say, Mr Chairman.
Gareth Hughes.
Thank you, Mr.